cowboy is wowing the crowds through his master cowboy poetry skills, something he started when he was just 9 years old.
Dan Rascon taking us inside the story of Thatch, the cowboy poet. Dan?
Yeah, Mark and Shauna, Thatch Elmer may only be just 14 years old, but his skillful way of delivering cowboy poetry is putting him on the map with the veterans. He says he's still a kid, but a kid who's bringing back the Old West. The hot, sizzling sun is not stopping these boys from enjoying an afternoon of roping calf.
Yeah!
Something they love to do. Especially
I love the cowboy life.
14-year-old Thatch Elmer, who considers himself a genuine old-fashioned cowboy.
Well, I love it because it's just the West.
Who not only looks the part,
Long pants and long shirts and cowboy hats every day.
but
Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Thank you.
talks the part.
That's the way it is.
But there is much more to Thatch than just hanging out with horses. Thatch has a very unique talent.
This is a poem called The Tradition by a very famous author named Anonymous.
He's a master
We're the rodeo cowboys. Come out to play.
at cowboy poetry,
Behind the chutes, they wait their fate.
something he started doing when he was just 9 years old.
Gold, buckle dreams.
It all started when he got a chance to perform at a cowboy poetry gathering in Heber.
I said a little cowboy poetry and people enjoyed it. They picked up on it and it's kind of grown ever since then.
That's an understatement.
This is one I wrote.
Thatch has since become a nationally recognized
And when a feller's trading horses,
and professional cowboy poet,
every time I'd ride that horse,
performing in hundreds of shows across the country. He's no longer just a person on a list of performers.
that a deal is still a deal.
In many cases, he's the headliner. To him, it's about bringing back the Old West.
For me, it's not really the poetry. It's the meaning behind the poetry and displaying the Western way of life and the cowboy life to people who don't think there's cowboys anymore.
I'm told the cowboy poetry all started in the Old West with cattle drives. Cowboys sitting around the fire, telling stories. And it's the classics that Thatch loves to tell.
Because I like to preserve our history and our traditions. You know, a young kid telling old stories, I think it's great.
The thrill of roping calf is fun,
Some people call him cowboy,
but bringing back the Old West through poetry
but he's more like a gypsy.
is also an adrenaline rush.
Hey, hey, hey!
Well, Thatch says he has about 50 poems memorized, which means he could perform an hour-and-a-half show by memory. He says just like any talent, it takes a lot of practice, which he is doing daily. For more on where to see Thatch, go to our website, KUTV.com, click on Features and Inside the Story.